Hi, I'm Matt, and welcome to my latest gaming news video. I'll be covering recent gaming news as well as some other game-related things in this video, as I always do. And I'm grateful for any feedback, so if you feel the need to do so, please leave a comment below. You can also like and subscribe if you're enjoying my videos. And I'll get into some gaming news. So first video back after being away, and we start off with some, pretty massive news. So first off, today, let's start with the biggest news, likely of the year, and that being GTA 6 finally being officially revealed with its first trailer. This was released a day early by Rockstar, as someone had leaked it online, so Rockstar just dropped it on everyone a day early. I will be putting the trailer up during this part, just in case you haven't seen it. If you haven't, definitely check it out for yourself over on Rockstar's YouTube channel. I think IGN have a link of it as well, GameSpot and things. But yeah, I'll link it in the description below. Now, my thoughts on it, you ask. I think it looks incredible. I've watched it a few times now, and it gets me pretty hyped each time. I'm not someone who usually gets too excited or hyped up. I always try and calm myself and reduce the hype, but GTA 6 has me pretty animated, you might say, right now. I love the look of the Vice City and Leonida state setting, both being based on Miami and Florida respectively. I think most people probably know that. Not enough was shown to give sort of concrete info, though. It does seem like the map will not only have Vice City, likely that's the main city, but also other smaller cities, towns, and sort of locales ranging in scope and feel, I would imagine. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the trailer, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of different regions. I guess this kind of variety is expected. Compared to GTA 5, though, which only has one major city, Los Santos, and some towns dotted around, GTA 6 is looking like it will be considerably bigger. Hopefully with multiple large cities and a bunch of smaller towns. I think I heard someone say it was about two times the size of GTA 5's map, or 2 times or a bit more maybe, which seems pretty reasonable. Especially with all the extra detail this game should seemingly have compared to GTA 5. Seems like there will be a lot more going on. And I suspect Vice City will be the largest, most detailed area city, but I'm expecting this to be much bigger in scale than GTA 5 and Los Santos. As Leonida is based on Florida, I think we can expect a variety of regions, as shown to some degree in the trailer. You've got the cities and built-up urban areas, the towns or the suburbs, and the more rural areas, like the swampy Everglades-esque region. Not to mention the ocean and beachfront areas, which were shown off and look amazing. There's likely going to be a lot of world and environment diversity, much more than GTA 5 by the looks. Graphically, the game footage just showed in the trailer looks very impressive. It definitely looks way better than GTA 5, which should be expected at this point, given that game came out originally in 2013 for the Xbox 360 and PS3 before getting ports to other systems, including the PC. Also, it also does feel it looks noticeably better graphically than even Red Dead Redemption 2, which is expected because it's going to be coming like 6-7 years after that game, I suppose. But the thing that stood out most was just the world density, the crowd density, object density, just the amount going on screen. In general, looks impressive. The NPCs going about the day on the beach, and the traffic density looked pretty wild. I like the nighttime traffic shots. The views look great. Hopefully all of it is representative of what you will see in the full game. I know this is a trailer, but I'm hoping a lot of the feel you get and the sort of density and stuff is actually real in the game, not just set up for the trailer, but you never know. Also, I watched a couple of videos, like reaction things to the trailer on YouTube, and something that was brought up a fair bit was the physics. I watched Angry Joe's hour reaction to it. And the fair physics, water physics, general character animations is all looking good. They're all looking great and vastly improved over GTA 5, which again is expected, but nonetheless impressive. And we finally got the confirmation of the two protagonists. I know they were leaked previously, but that's Lucia and Jason. Both seem quite interesting. There's more of a focus on Lucia in this trailer, I feel. So I'm wondering if she is a sole playable character, but I don't think this is the case. Looks like it seems likely you'll be able to swap between the two on the fly, like in GTA 5, where you can swap between Franklin, Michael, and Trevor. The character transitions were fairly seamless in GTA 5, but you could definitely improve it in GTA 6. And considering Lucia and Jason are likely going to be together a lot in missions, I would have thought, and maybe in the open world, I'm guessing this will be pretty seamless. It does seem that main missions, at least, will revolve around a sort of Bonnie and Clyde type of style, with Lucia and Jason being partners in crime, and yeah, together. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Going into sort of my thoughts on it and stuff. You could say, yeah, I'm very excited for GTA 6. My hype was sort of tempered until I watched the trailer. Now I'm sort of all in. I do need to say the game isn't releasing. This is the sort of downside until 2025. So let's hope there aren't any delays, unless they're needed, of course. But so yeah, 2025. So that's a fair ways away. I've heard some bits about like early or middle of 2025, but nothing concrete yet. We might actually get I would hope, the full release date sometime next year, if they release more trailers, like a story trailer and like gameplay trailers and things. Yeah, hopefully a fully fledged gameplay trailer drops next year. But yeah, the trailer they have shown, the first one, was pretty great. But a proper gameplay trailer would be nice. And yeah, like I said, story trailers and the likes going forwards as well, I would imagine. Probably next year is going to be pretty big for that sort of stuff. But yeah, for first trailer and first look at the game, yeah, pretty impressed. Can't wait. We'll be covering the game going forward. It's going to be pretty big, big wait and yeah, big news cycle around the game until it releases. So yeah, a bit of a longer section there. I feel it was needed with how big GTA 6 news is. But yeah, anyway, moving away from GTA 6 now, and we have some Resident Evil news. Following the massive success of the Resident Evil remakes, it looks like Capcom R&D working on more remakes of their older RE Resident Evil games. I think I covered this briefly a little while ago, but now we actually have confirmation. And just quick recap, so far we've had Resident Evil 2, 3 and 4 remade. I have played the remakes of 2 and 3 all the way through, a couple of times. A few times, I think. And they're, yeah, both amazing remakes and just amazing games in their own right. I can't recommend them enough, really. Haven't played 4 yet, but I'm going to at some point. So the actual news regarding more remakes, at a recent December 1st award show in Japan, Yasuhiro Ampo, who's the RE Remake director, was asked whether more were coming. He replied that, quote, "Yes, we've released 3 remakes so far and they've all been received very well. Since it allows a modern audience to play these games, it is something I am happy to do as someone that loves these older games, and we want to continue doing more. What game we will remake in the future is something that we would like to announce in the future. So please look forward to that," end quote. So that's good to hear, especially if you're a fan of the RE remakes, RE games like myself, even the older ones. And yeah, it was expected at this point, given how well 3 remakes have done, but it's still nice to get some confirmation. I think there are 2 big options for the next remake, at least for me personally. Either Resident Evil 1 or Resident Evil Code Veronica. I know RE1 has been remade, or was originally remade on the GameCube, and that version remastered for PC and modern systems. That's the way how I actually played it. It's really good, actually. Still holds up really well. But yeah, a remake of the original game in the RE engine would be pretty awesome. I think that would be massive. Because yeah, I love the original setting of the Haunted Mansion and stuff. It's really great. Code Veronica would be my second pick. Hopefully they end up just doing both. But yeah, Code Veronica is my second pick. It's the only mainline RE game I haven't played from back in the old ones, like pre-Resident Evil 5. But yeah, as I said, I played the remaster of the remake of Resident Evil, and then I played, as I said, RE 2 and 3 remakes. So Veronica would be nice to experience via the RE engine. I've watched some videos on it, but yeah, I've never actually played it. But yeah, original RE remake of the original game would be awesome. But do that, maybe Capcom, then do a remake of Code Veronica. I think that would be all the mainline PS2 gen and older games remade then. I'm not too bothered about Resident Evil 5, but I prefer that get a remake than Resident Evil 6. But yeah, I think my money's on either Resident Evil 1 or Code Veronica being getting the remake treatment. With definitely me hoping for RE1. And yeah, I guess we'll just have to find out at hopefully some point next year they'll reveal some more details about it. So be looking forward to that one, and I'll definitely be covering that, I would have thought. Next up we have a couple of PlayStation related stories. First up, Sony and PlayStation Store are removing content that people paid for. So you can basically purchase TV/digital shows via the PlayStation Store, although I don't think you can do it anymore. But like shows like Mythbusters, Deadliest Catch, and the likes, they're sort of older Discovery shows. And yeah, now the PS Store is moving over 1,300 seasons of Discovery TV shows. And this means that even if you bought any of them, you can no longer watch them. This is a very bad look for Sony and the PS Store. In a statement / message to PS Store users, Sony informed them that, quote, as of the 31st of December 2023, due to our content licensing arrangements with content providers, you will no longer be able to watch any of your previously purchased Discovery content, and the content will be removed from your video library. Actually removed. But yeah, the removal of digital video is in contrast to the removal of games due to licensing agreements. If you purchase a game, then I think in most, if not all cases, you can still download and play that game, but it just can't be bought going forward by someone else. Or I guess by you again if you deleted it or something from your account somehow. I don't think I've got any games that I have been delisted. I know I still got the original like San Andreas on Steam, which you can't. I don't think you can buy the original copy of that anymore via Steam due to licensing stuff. But I guess, well, yeah. So I do have maybe a couple others as well. But yeah, when they're delisted, you can usually still play them. So it seems a bit different for video content, at least going by what's happening now. But yeah, it would seem that there's some sort of agreement, as they alluded to, that requires Sony to stop people from viewing purchased video content. And in this case, anyway, Discovery TV shows. It's pretty bad if you've paid for this content and can no longer view it. This is, yeah, certainly not a good look for Sony. As stated by Sony, the deadline is the 31st of December this year. Following that date, 1,318, I believe, Discovery show seasons were removed and no longer watchable, even if you purchase them. Some shows included in this content removal are Mythbusters, An Idiot Abroad, Cake Boss, Deadliest Catch, American Chopper, Shark Week, How It's Made, and Street Outlaws. I've watched a couple of them years ago. I think Mythbusters I used to watch years ago, and a bit Deadliest Catch, American Chopper, How It's Made, and Shark Week, I think, but this was years ago. I didn't even know this stuff was still accessible. I guess it probably always will be online, but I didn't know you could still like watch this through like a streaming service. Because yeah, I believe it's quite old at this point, all these shows. So anyway, a pretty rough story if you're one who consumes this content via the PlayStation Store, and it doesn't look like Sony will be refunding anyone either, which is, yeah, not great. Moving on, second bit of PlayStation news is game related. This is almost a couple weeks old at this point, but it's something I briefly touched on in videos before, that being The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. I had covered quite a few weeks back that leaks were suggesting that Naughty Dog were working on a Last of Us Part 2 remaster akin to the Part 1 remaster, and now this has been confirmed by Sony / PlayStation. Revealed on the PlayStation blog, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered will be coming to PS5 on January 19th, 2024. I'm guessing a PC release will come as well at some point, similar to the Part 1 remaster, which you can get on Steam. But yeah, via the blog, Naughty Dog said that, quote, the team here at Naughty Dog is excited to announce The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, the definitive way to experience the acclaimed The Last of Us sequel originally released in 2020. We're thrilled to confirm you won't have to wait long for it either. Players can jump into Ellie and Abby's emotional journeys on the PlayStation 5 console on January 19th, 2024. So yeah, just over a month away. But yeah, well, yeah, this isn't too surprising to me. I still think it's a little soon, as Part 2 only released in 2020. Also, as also noted by Naughty Dog. It's cool to see, though. I just think it's a bit soon. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'd be a lot different. One notable thing, and I'm glad Naughty Dog has done this, is that if you have a digital physical copy, like I do a physical copy of the PS4 version of Last of Us Part 2, you can upgrade it for $10, and I assume £10, to the remastered version, which is, yeah, better than having to pay full price again. One caveat, the disc version will require, quite obviously, a disc-based PS5, and they've also stated that the game disc will need to be inserted into the PS5 to download and play the digital version upgrade. I'm guessing you could probably just pick up a second-hand physical copy like I did and just pay for the upgrade if you want to fork over the full price. I think I paid about £20 for my used copy earlier this year. And also, it goes without saying, if you don't have a copy of the game already, or you or want it new, you will be required to purchase the game at full price, obviously. We'll be checking back in on the remaster when it releases. It's it'll be interesting to see how it looks and performs when compared to the original version and the part 1 remaster, which I'm also quite interested in, even though I have the PS4 remaster of part 1. But anyway, be definitely checking back in on it. Moving away from PlayStation, next up, interestingly, we have some Banjo-Kazooie news. I've only played one of the Banjo-Kazooie games, that being the least well-received one, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. A game I really did enjoy, though, playing back on the 360. It's still playable today via the Xbox Store, and I think Rare Replay. I do still have my physical copy from years ago. I believe the first game as well, just Banjo-Kazooie, is playable via Nintendo Switch Online as well, but Banjo-Tooie isn't for some reason. I've not yet played the original classic Banjo-Kazooie or its sequel Banjo-Tooie. I know they are like true classic games. I just haven't ever played them, but along with so many other new and old, they're both on the ever-growing list I have in my mind of games to play. Anyway, the last Banjo game being Nuts and Bolts means it's been around 15 years since we saw a new game in the franchise. Almost as long as GTA 5 to 6 will be, Christ. But I'd love to see a new Banjo-Kazooie game if it was done right. And Phil Spencer has acknowledged that they are thinking about the game series still. In an interview with Windows Central, he said that, quote, "You've seen from our history that we haven't touched every franchise that people would love us to touch. Banjo fans, I hear you. But it is true that when we find the right team and the right opportunity, I love going back to revisit stories and characters that we've seen previously." So he specifically mentions Banjo fans, and him saying they are waiting for the right team is good to hear. Also, according to a 2020 interview, Phil Spencer said that any revivals of classic Rare franchises would be up to Rare to make the decision, who are owned by Microsoft and are an Xbox game studio. The composer who made all the great music for the original game, Grant Kirkhope, has mentioned reviving the series, though he did question whether the franchise still had an audience. Grant, along with David Weiss and Steve Burke, no, not Gamers Nexus Steve Burke, obviously, I guess, but they composed the music for Ukulele, which is a spiritual successor to the Banjo franchise. But Grant himself said that, quote, "I feel like you'd have to get a team with the humor that we had back then, and that's hard to replicate. I think Rare would be open to somebody if they found the right team, but I don't feel like that team exists. Also, I'm not convinced that audience is there either. I don't feel like there are that many Banjo fans out there." But end quote there. Grant has much more knowledge of the Banjo franchise than I ever will, but I do think if a new Banjo game was made, like him and Phil said, with the right team, then I believe it would be very successful. I think there probably are still a lot of people who would be interested in the game. I guess we'd just have to see. But I think it would be successful. Should the right team be found within or without Rare, I would definitely be interested in a new Banjo game. I guess only time will tell if we end up with a new game in that classic franchise. So I'll be looking forward to that. Before we move on, we have more Phil Spencer. Well, yes, something he said anyway. Speaking at the CCXP event taking place in Brazil, Phil spoke of how Starfield was a tremendous hit and that over 12 million players have played the game. Before I get more into this, I do want to briefly touch on Starfield. It's looking like I'm going to be doing 2 or 3 videos later this month. One is my most played games and another my most anticipated games of 2024. In the former, I'll probably be covering Starfield to some extent, as it was one of my most played games this year. I don't want to say too much about the game here, but I have to say I don't think Starfield is quite as good as I originally thought, and certainly not a tremendous hit, at least for me. I don't think it's a bad game, but I do think it's a good game. But after finishing it and sort of reflecting on it, I now understand to some degree the negative coverage it is getting at the moment, but more on that at a later date. But anyway, hopefully Starfield does keep getting content and updates. I'll be looking forward to its expansion, Shattered Space, which I only just noticed it was called and actually revealed earlier this year. Back to Phil Spencer, though, he has promised more content is coming for Starfield and that it has a long life ahead of it. During the CCXP event, Spencer said, quote, "Skyrim is such an amazing hit from Bethesda Game Studios, and talking to Todd Howard and the team, really what they wanted to do as people who love space and space exploration is give them that same opportunity as Skyrim. So we've already announced that we've got our next expansion coming, Shattered Space. We've already told the community that they'll all get the mod tools so they can go and create their own content in Starfield, which has been so important to Skyrim. So a ton of confidence that for many, many years, Starfield would be sitting very high in the gameplay charts. I'd say at this point, I'd be surprised if Starfield has the same longevity as Skyrim. But yeah, I could be wrong, only time will tell. Maybe when there's mod tools and the DLC and in a year or so when everything's sort of coming together a bit more, maybe maybe the game will be seen in a better light. And yeah, maybe it will have longevity than I think it will. But yeah, only time will tell. Next up, some Elden Ring news. According to the game's producer, Yasuhiro Kitao, progress on its first DLC is going well. Elden Ring is a very well reviewed and commercially successful game. I have played it, but not to the finish. I'm planning on playing through it properly sometime soon, maybe early next year. In an interview with the Japanese publication Game Watch, From Software and Elden Ring producer Yasuhiro Kitao said that, quote, it'll be a little while yet, but progress is going well. Like Bloodborne, it has new battles and new characters. So, not too much there, but it does shine some light on the elusive upcoming DLC that was announced way back in February. DLC was officially confirmed to be called Shadow of the Erdtree. I think most speculation points to it being released sometime next year. I know that's a fairly broad time frame, but yeah, it's all I've got. And as far as when I checked, I don't think there's a release date confirmed for it yet. I think there was some speculation that it would release like January, February, March, maybe in those first like early in the year, but I don't think that's the case. But if it's similar in scope to the Bloodborne DLC, the Old Hunters, I'm thinking Elden Ring fans will be happy with it, as that was well received from what I could tell. And given From Software's track record with not only games but DLC, or expansions, I'm sure we're in for a great time with Shadow of the Erdtree. Maybe, I doubt it, as I alluded to, but maybe the DLC will be out by the time I get back into the game. But yeah, if I had to guess, and the speculation, like I said, it was saying early 2023, but I don't think it will be releasing that soon. Or early 2024. I think I've been saying 2024. Or I think I've been saying 2023. It was meant to be 2024 for obvious reasons. But yeah, if more news is revealed, I will certainly cover it in a future video. And yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Now on to some Cyberpunk 2077 news. Following the release of the very well received Phantom Pain DLC, it's looking like ongoing development of Cyberpunk will soon cease, as CD Projekt Red want to move on to and transfer devs over to The Witcher 4 and their other Witcher and related projects. Global Community Director Marcin Momot recently said in a tweet that CD Projekt Red, have one more patch for Cyberpunk 2077. IGN has since reached out for comment, to which a spokesperson replied, quote, to echo Marcin Momot's tweet, update 2.1 is meant to be the last big update, end quote. The final update in question is update 2.1, which is releasing adjacent to the Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition on the 5th of December, and thus is out by the time this video is up. Just to add, the Ultimate Edition is the base game and Phantom Liberty included in one package, I think digitally and physically. Update 2.1 will be added in a metro system, which is interesting, consisting of 19 different metro stations for transportation. Sounds pretty cool. New romantic partner hangouts and new vehicles, among other things. That metro station system seems quite cool. There's something in the game like I'll maybe use a couple of times but end up forgetting about, but it sounds interesting. That's pretty cool to add that. When I finally get around to playing the game, I will, be interested in seeing how all the systems work and that as well. That sounds, pretty cool. So anyway, it is likely that CD Projekt will continue to put out patches and smaller updates going forwards, but the days of large content updates are seemingly overdue to, as I mentioned, the studio wanting to ramp up Witcher 4 production. Alongside The Witcher 4, a remake of the first Witcher game is in development, as well as an as-of-yet titled Witcher game and a Cyberpunk sequel. These are likely years off at the least. I suspect that either The Witcher 4 or the remake of the original Witcher game will be the next big CD Projekt Red title. And just as a bit of a side bit, I think the game games I'm looking forward to the most right now, my most sort of anticipated games are The Witcher 4, GTA 6, the next Tomb Raider, and the next RE Remake, specifically a sort of remake of the original Resident Evil, though I'd be happy with Code Veronica as I um, went on a bit, went over earlier, but yeah, a bit of a tangent there, but Witcher 4 is the top of the list at the moment. Absolutely loved The Witcher 3 and its expansion, especially Blood and Wine, but Hearthstone was good though, good too. But yeah, anyway, a bit off topic, but the main news is that, yeah, Cyberpunk will likely get no more big updates following the release of Update 2.1, which should have released a few days ago, December 5th. And the final bit of main news before we move into the next sections of the video is about Starbreeze. Starbreeze are the developers behind the hugely successful Payday games. Well, I guess Payday 3 isn't doing so well. According to the VGC article, Video Game Chronicle, I read the Payday developer is working on a live service Dungeons and Dragons game. Starbreeze said that the upcoming game will, quote, carry the signature Starbreeze game cornerstones of cooperative multiplayer, lifetime commitment through a games as a service model, community engagement, and a larger than life experience. Starbreeze also said that development of the game is in full swing, although it looks like the game will not be coming until 2026. Christ. So even further away than GTA 6, I guess. The game will also be developed in Unreal Engine 5 and released for all major platforms. I wasn't going to cover this actually, as it's so far off, but it was recently announced, a bit of interesting news. So, but yeah, maybe too soon. I think they revealed it, or at least spoken, announced about it. But yeah, let's hope that when it finally releases, it does so in a state far better than Payday 3 did. But if it doesn't, I expect we'll cover that if I'm still doing videos then in that time. As this will have a similar live service type model, any server or technical issues will wreak havoc on the game's playability. So yeah, hopefully Starbreeze has a plan in place so far from launch, because yeah, we don't want another Payday 3 situation on our hands. That was pretty rough from when I covered it. So moving on now for the game reception part of the video. As I was away when I was planning on covering these three games, in today's game section, I will simply cover them now. They are Gangs of Sherwood, Turok 3 Shadow of Oblivion Remastered, and Wizardom. First up, we have Gangs of Sherwood. This is a co-op PvE action game. I think you can play solo as well. In some way similar to something like Vermintide by the looks from what I've seen gameplay-wise, but it is third person. I've covered this game a couple of times as it was delayed for a month, I believe. This was so that the developers could change some things due to player feedback and polish the game up a bit. Now the game is finally out and I want to cover it as I was kind of interested in the game. Sadly, it is not doing so well, critically and user-wise. First up, over at Metacritic, it's got a really rough score of 48 out of 100. This is only based on 8 reviews for the PC. I think there was 3 or 4 reviews for the PS5 and 2 for the Xbox. But yeah, it's doing slightly better on the PS5 with a score of 53 out of 100. There were no user reviews when I checked, as it had not garnered even 4 user ratings. Over on Steam, Gangs of Sherwood is faring no better. It has a mixed rating with 50% of reviews being positive. This was based on 48 reviews when I checked. I guess 50% isn't catastrophic, but it's pretty poor. From some brief looks at critic reviews, it does look like the game is very mediocre, very sort of average at best is what I'm seeing, although some people were giving it higher scores like 60s and 70s, but it averaged out around 50 and 50% on Steam. And yeah, I do feel kind of bad for the developers. They delayed the game to try and improve on some stuff, but I guess a month wasn't long enough. Maybe in time it will become more polished and a better, more fun game. But it seems the base game isn't that enjoyable from what I can tell, so I don't really know what they can do about that. If it ends up improving, I may take another look at the game and cover it in the future. Hopefully it does, but we'll find out in the future. Next we have Turok. Cover this game in a previous gaming news, as I did with Wizardom, the next game. Turok 3 Shadows of Oblivion Remastered is obviously a remaster, and one done by Night Dive Studios of the original game from 2000. It's the final game in the original mainline Turok trilogy. The other 2 were also remastered before this one, and are available now if you want to check those out. Turok 3, like the other 2 original Turok games, is a fast-paced FPS game. I believe of the 3 original games, this one was considered the weakest. However, it's still not a bad game, I don't think. There aren't many reviews for the game. but on OpenCritic, the game is doing okay. I'll list off some review scores. Shack News gave it a 7 out of 10. CG Magazine also a 7 out of 10. Lords of Gaming 7.5 out of 10. And What If Gaming 8 out of 10. So critic-wise, it's not doing bad, seemingly above average at the least. User-wise, the game is doing a decent amount better on Steam. The game has a very positive rating with 91% of all reviews being positive. This was based on 158 reviews when I checked. That's a pretty impressive percentage for the Turok 3 remaster, which is good to know. Glad it's doing good. Now for Wisdom, I've actually played this game, just the demo for about an hour or so, and yeah, did enjoy what I played of it. I'd say it's a very nice looking game. I really enjoy the art design and the colours. It looks really great if you're into that type of aesthetic. Just to cover it in brief, in case you haven't seen anything about this game, it's a retro-inspired FPS that has a medieval fantasy theme. It's pretty fast-paced, akin to other retro-inspired FPS games, and it also rewards you for exploration of the map. The game released into its early access phase on the 29th of November. It currently doesn't have any critic reviews when I checked, as it's, I guess, because it's not fully released, it's early access, although it does have Steam reviews. On Steam, the game is doing really well review-wise. It has a very positive rating, with 95% of reviews being positive, and this was based on 67 reviews when I checked. But yeah, I did actually enjoy what I played of Wisdom, and we'll probably pick it up at a later date once it fully releases. Now that's the game reception done, moving on to upcoming games. I was going to say there's not too much coming, but I've got a fair bit to cover, but not a lot of... Only, I think, 3 upcoming games that would have not been released by the time this video comes out. But yeah, there were 2 games I wanted to briefly go over as part of the section that I wasn't able to cover what would have been last week's video, however, as I was away for a few weeks. First up, we have Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. This and the next game are already out by the time this video will go up, but yeah, as I said, I wanted to cover them as they are quite interesting to me. I'll cover both of these games in next week's game reception section as well, I would imagine. But yeah, anyway, back to Avatar. I covered this game a number of times over the past few months, and now the game is finally out. I won't get too deep, as you probably know what this game is based on, the Avatar franchise. I believe this is the first James Cameron's Avatar game since the 2009 movie tie-in game. As mentioned in previous videos before, I did play that game back in the day, and it was really good, I thought, on the 360. May give it a go again someday. I still have my physical copy. But yeah, back to Frontiers of Pandora, the new game. This is quite different from the 2009 game. It's a first-person game for starts, and is much more open by the looks of things compared to the 2009 game. Frontiers of Pandora is an open-world action-adventure game. It also has survival and RPG elements. You could say it's in some way similar to the Far Cry games, but with a survival twist. I hope it's not too similar, but just borrowing some elements from those games could work, I feel. From the gameplay I've seen of Frontiers of Pandora, it does look pretty cool. I'm very interested to see how it's received as a fan of the films as well as the previous game. Although, yeah, it does seem very different to that game. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora should have released on the 7th of December and is out on PC, Xbox Series consoles, as well as the PS5. As the game is already out, you could check out how it's doing for yourself, or check back in next week's gaming news video, as I'll be covering how it's been received. I may also give the game a go. We'll say that sadly the game is only available on PC via the Ubisoft Store. Maybe it will come to Steam eventually, I'm not sure. If the game ends up being reviewed pretty well, then I will probably take one for the team and get the Ubisoft PC app so I can give the game a go via Ubisoft Plus. So yeah, footage of the game may be used in the future. And actually, while writing up this week's video, I noticed an additional piece of Frontiers of Pandora news. Nothing major, it's just being the physical copy of the game will require an online connection to install. So I can see some people not being too happy about that info. But anyway, moving on. The next game that is actually already out, but I wanted to quickly touch on is The Day Before. As you probably know already, this game is a post-apocalyptic zombie survival MMO, and it has been in development for a number of years and is now finally releasing, though into early access. This is another game that I've covered before once recently because it was delayed again to this date, December 7th. As with Avatar before this game, it should have already released, but you never know. Stands another delay by the time this video goes up. I won't get too much into it as it is already out. The game has had a few controversies though, mostly regarding how the game looks and how many delays it's had, with a lot of people speculating that it was never going to come out, or that it was cancelled a while ago. It was even delisted from Steam for a little while until recently. The day before does seem like it will finally release, however, and thus I'm very interested to see how it ends up. Although, as I mentioned, the game is going to release into early access. From the gameplay I've seen, it does look quite good. As a fan of zombie games like DayZ, I am really interested to finally know whether this is a good game or just another random zombie slash post-apocalyptic game that just ends up flopping. I do wonder how they are going to implement all the MMO aspects and make it more MMO-like, which is different to DayZ, a game that isn't considered an MMO, I wouldn't say. I'm just interested to see what makes it a survival MMO and how MMO elements work in game. The day before should have released earlier this week on the 7th of December, and as far as I can tell, it's only coming to PC via Steam during its early access phase. However, it does look like the game is coming to current gen consoles at a later date, likely when the game fully releases. You can check for yourself as the game should be out already, or wait for next week's video. I'll cover that. But yeah, I don't think this will be a game I'll try anytime soon, but probably someday if it's well received. But yeah, to be honest, this seems like a good game for background footage, just wandering around in a post-apocalyptic world. Like I feel Chernarus and DayZ would be pretty good for that sort of thing. But let's hope it's good for more than just that. And moving on, we have the first games that are actually upcoming games. Not many though that piqued my interest. First, we have Pioneers of Pagonia. This is a city builder with a cozy, colourful aesthetic. This game is seemingly less similar to city builders like City Skylines and more similar to games like Timberborn and the Anno series. It does seem to have a basic story and premise, which I feel is fine for these type of games. The developer says that, quote, in a world of countless islands, populated with scattered tribes, you travel and lead your people as a visionary to forge alliances with the inhabitants after helping each other and gaining their trust. Send out your pioneers to discover untouched soil, find hidden resources, and explore secret places. It looks like there are colony sim aspects, resource gathering, maybe Age of Empires-esque, along with exploration. It does look somewhat similar to other games from its genre, but yeah, it does have a unique look. As this is a city builder slash colony sim, there are a number of gameplay elements, so you control to some degree your inhabitants. There are over 40 buildings to build and more than 70 different goods, I assume, to produce, manage, and trade. As mentioned, there is exploration, and you will need to send out your pioneers to explore the world and find hidden resources, among other things. The maps are procedurally generated, so that should allow for a lot of variation and replayability potential, which is cool. There is some combat as well, as you will need to, quote, protect your population from hostile animals, plundering bandits, and mythical creatures. You can also unite with other tribes, and I assume their colonies slash cities through the use of diplomacy. Graphic-wise, Pioneers of Pagonia does look quite nice. Its art design slash style is quite akin to the life sim slash farming sim games I've covered so much. It has a cozy cartoon-like 3D art style, and the graphical design aesthetic, as with those those life and farm games, is very nice. Pretty looking game. I do like the character and building designs as well. They're all they're all look good. Pioneers of Pagonia is releasing into early access. Its early access phase on the 13th of December and is coming solely to the PC as far as I can tell. Whether it'll get a console release later date, I'm not really sure. Second upcoming game for today is House Flipper 2. This is the sequel, as you might expect, to House Flipper. As with the original game, House Flipper 2 is a house building slash designing game, sort of simulator. It's kind of like those simulator games, but seems much more fleshed out and in depth. The original game released back in 2018 and is very well reviewed. Currently it has an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam with a 95% score and has over 75,000 reviews. So if House Flipper 2 can improve and or refine the formula slash the gameplay further, I'm guessing it will also be just as well received. There doesn't seem to be a deep story, which isn't surprising. This is essentially a detailed simulator game, but the Steam page reads, quote, can you discover some of the stories within these walls? Your old pal Tom, who seems to know everybody in the neighborhood, will gladly share some local knowledge with you. So yeah, there is actually a story mode as well, where you undertake long renovation projects and take up quick jobs like cleaning and decorating. So yeah, sounds cool if you're into that sort of more simulator type stuff maybe. Gameplay does look similar to the first game, although more detailed and with more location variety. Those that enjoyed the first game's gameplay will likely enjoy House Flipper 2's just as much, maybe even more. Gameplay revolves around you buying a rundown with dilapidated house or property and renovating and restoring it. House Flipper 2 will be adding the option to build a house from scratch too, which is pretty cool and a nice addition. The Steam page details, quote, "Why renovate a house when you can just build one? Unleash your creativity in the sandbox mode. Use it to recreate real-life buildings or design projects that exist in your imagination. Remember, building from scratch is no easy task." Graphically, the game has a realistic art and graphical style. It looks nice graphically. It's definitely an improvement over the last game. Some of the screenshots made me think I was looking at someone's like Blender ArcViz architectural visualization project render, which is yeah, impressive. However, you can still obviously tell it's a game. Is not as far as realistic as a high fidelity Blender render or something like that. But yeah, definitely a game I want to try someday. I might pick the first game up when it goes on deal to see if I like the sort of gameplay loop. House Flipper 2 is releasing on the 14th of December and is coming solely to PC. The original game had a console release, and one article I glanced over did say Xbox Series and PS5 release will be coming at a later date. And the final upcoming game for today is Soulslinger Envoy of Death, or Envoy of Death. This game is described by the developers as a roguelite FPS. The game is a Western-style FPS and kind of reminds me of Crytek's Hunt Showdown, although it does have its own unique style. Story-wise, you play as a gunslinger in Limbo, who's fighting an organization known as the Cartel, who are harvesting souls to break free of the afterlife. So it looks like the Cartel and its minions are going to be the player's main enemies. Gameplay-wise, it's an action FPS. It looks a bit fast-paced, but not as much as games like Dusk, Doom, Ultra Kill, or Ghost Runner. The shooting does look quite fun. There are a number of guns/weapons I saw during the gameplay trailer. You've got the usual Western-style revolvers and double-barrel shotguns, a magic system as well as a weapon crafting system, actually. Upgrading your character seems like a big part of the game. I've not played many roguelike games, but I believe this is a common gameplay element. The Steam description reads, quote, "Become an envoy of death, able to unleash the incredible powers that will make you the most dangerous soul in Limbo. Upgrade your character's ability to become the ultimate soul slinger and take on thrilling challenges in a bloody war against the criminal cartel of the afterlife. Forge your own destiny with every run by crafting powerful weapons and unlocking permanent upgrades in Haven. Grow stronger with every new challenge and become an incredibly deadly gunslinger. Get ready for a fast-paced, roguelite FPS experience you won't ever forget." End of quote. A bit longer quote there. Onto the graphical style next. Soulslinger, yeah, it does look pretty nice. I can imagine those who like the Western fantasy art style will like the look of this game, as the artists/designers have pulled it up quite well here. It's a fairly dark and gritty looking game, but does look colourful, or does have colourful spells and special effects to contrast this, and all look pretty good. The weapon models, enemies, and their animations all look good to me too. It's definitely a good looking game, especially if you like the style it's going for. Soulslinger Envoy of Death is releasing on the 14th of December and is another game coming solely to the PC at the moment. It's an early access release, and there is actually a demo for the game. I believe the only game with one today, so go check that out if you're interested. So that's the upcoming games. There was an additional release I just want to cover, and this is coverage of that release. It came out a little like a week or so ago, and also like a mini news story, I guess. So yeah, before we move on, we actually have the additional release I wanted to cover, that is Batman Arkham Trilogy for the Nintendo Switch. This released on December 1st, but I wanted to cover it as an additional piece. It will include the 3 Arkham games, as the name suggests. All were very well received games, and in case you didn't know, those games are Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. It also includes all DLC as well. If you've not played these games, they are pretty good. I'm thinking they're probably the best Batman games to date, and up there with other really good superhero games. I've played Asylum and Knight, but not City for some reason. Although I did not complete the 2 I played, but they were good. I enjoyed what I played them. Pricing wise, I feel this Arkham Trilogy for the Switch is a bit pricey. I think it's £50, about $60. This is via the Nintendo Store, but I have seen it physically for £10 or dollars, $10 cheaper at retailers when I had a look. Kind of odd, not sure why it's more expensive digitally from Nintendo, but whatever. I'll include a link in the description to a video by Switch Up, a channel on YouTube who covers how the game performs on the Switch. But yeah, it does look like there are issues with the game performance-wise, and it's kind of not too surprised due to being the Switch. I would definitely check reviews for the Switch trilogy, Arkham Trilogy, before you buy it. Yeah, definitely check reviews if you're looking to do so. Because I've seen a few videos online of people reporting that it doesn't run great, doesn't look great, and but yeah, that's kind of obvious at this point. But yeah, definitely look at reviews and check the video I'll be linking from Switch Up going over the game's performance. And just to add, all 3 games usually go on deal on Steam. That's where I bought them years ago. This is every now and then, but I'm guessing the same on console for very cheap. So if you'd rather just pick the games up there, but if you specifically want it for the Switch, then it might be a good buy. I'm not really sure. Coming to the end of the video now, but I did actually want to do a game deal bit this week. I don't do many deals in these news videos anymore, but there's a pretty good deal on at the moment for the formerly PlayStation exclusive title Days Gone. It is currently 75% off until the 11th of December. I ended up buying it during the sale as I wanted to pick it up for a while. Just briefly, in case you didn't know, the game originally released on the PS4 back in 2019, but has since come over to the PC. And Days Gone is a single-player open-world zombie game. It's very well reviewed and has a 92% rating on Steam, going by all reviews. Definitely check it out if you're interested in open-world zombie games, especially single-player, story-driven ones. Apparently it's a really good game, so I'll have to play that at some point now, add it to the ever-growing list backlog. Now, a quick spotlight section. The spotlight section for this week is a YouTube video by James Lambert. This is a video from a couple weeks back, but I did want to bring it up, and some other people have done videos on it specifically. In the video, James details how he got Portal running on an N64. Yes, an actual N64 physically, and I think you can run it with emulation as well, but on an actual N64. Yeah, it's a really cool and interesting video. Definitely check it out if you're interested in tech and getting newer games to run on older hardware. Is really impressive, and it's pretty wild to see running. Obviously, it's downgraded compared to the modern one, but it's a full recreation of it, I believe, or at least it's ongoing. He's working on it still, but actually seeing it run is really cool. And as always, the link to the video will be in the spotlight section of the description. But definitely check it out. It's a really cool video if you're interested in that sort of tech and hardware stuff. So that's all the game coverage from me today. As always, feedback is appreciated, so go ahead and leave a like and comment. And actually, before I wrap up, I did want to say that next week's gaming news may be the last one this year. But if some random big news story comes out before January, I may cover it. As I mentioned, though, I will be putting out 2 or 3 other videos, including my most played games and my most anticipated games. Keep an eye out for all those. So will be still a few videos till before the new year. So if you enjoy my videos and commentary, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again soon.